What's up, guys? Stephen Woodani here with 5 Tool Sports Science. We've got a video breakdown of Andrew Lynn here. Guys, if you want a video analysis for yourself, go ahead and send a video in to my Instagram at Stephen Woodani. Do a horizontal video like this, like how Andrew has it in a side view. Send it in Instagram and I'll get you guys up for an analysis. So Andrew, let's get started with you. You did a lot of things really well. You said you're 89 to 90 consistently. That's really good. You look like you got great size. Like I said, a lot of the things in your mechanics were really well. We're going to nitpick a certain few areas, specifically back leg. You're getting pulled a little too much out of flexion. I think you can do a lot more to optimize your back leg. Even though you're getting yourself into good positions at foot strike, there can just be a lot more power that we can get through the back leg that ultimately will be transferred to the pelvis and then up the chain. Also front leg. Front leg is doing good things, but it could just be more optimized. You could be pushing more energy from front leg extension back into the chain. All right. Oh, and also arm. So we'll get into it. All right. So getting you started here into leg lift. Phenomenal job keeping yourself inside your drive leg. You're going to be able to start shifting weight down the mound. I like what you're doing here to start it out. Okay. So let's see how you load into this back leg. All right. I'm going to stop you right before we start running into some problems. Okay, so initially, as you are moving down the mound, this is probably about the last part before everything kind of starts going haywire here. I do not like this. Okay, there we go. You are going to start coming out of this back heel, so you're going to start losing connection to that glute, losing connection to that posterior chain. All right, so as soon as you start coming out of this back heel, let's watch what happens. All right, so as you start moving down, one more frame. Oh, I want one more frame. Come on, help me out. There we go. All right, coming out of this back heel. Then what happens is now you are pulled out of your flexion, okay? So if we go back, right here, say this is flexion of your hip, okay? This is flexion of your knee. This is some ankle, a little bit of ankle dorsiflexion here, okay? You are in flexion here. Ideally, you would want to hold this flexion and move a little bit farther down the mound so where you can get lower and kind of hold the positioning. Uh-oh, I broke something. All right? But what happens with you, we move down the mound, okay? Before you started your drive, right here, what happened? You got pulled out of this flexion. So now your leg is extended. Think of it like a vertical jump. I always use this analogy. When you're doing a vertical jump, you load into flexion, all right, and then you're pushing into the ground, you're creating ground reaction forces, you're pushing into the ground to overcome your own gravity and push you into the air, to propel you into the air. This is like trying to do a vertical jump now, and you can't go into flexion, you can't do a counter movement, you're just going like this. You just can't get as high. You're just going to get a little bit of push off. It's just not going to maximize that power. It's not going to maximize your acceleration on the mound. Ultimately, it's not going to maximize the power that you can produce through your hip to start the cinematic sequence. Okay? You do a great job with the shoulders. Phenomenal horizontal adduction. Keeping yourself counter-rotated. Shoulders are in a good position. Let's go forward. Try to get you right at foot strike. Boom. One more frame. Right there. Okay, here's foot strike. So what you did is you got the pelvis through. That's great. Like I said, you land in a good position. You're just not optimizing the power through that position. You're not optimizing the power through this back hip. But you landed and you were able to keep yourself nice and separated. Okay? So you create hip to shoulder separation. That's great. We can just optimize it with more power. Okay? Go forward a little bit more. So what happens with that is when you don't create enough power through that back hip, when you can't transfer it through the lower half and the trunk, what's going to happen is this glove side needs to start compensating by pulling too much. It has to overcompensate to try to put that same amount of force on the ball. So this glove side really needs to yank in order to try to produce the same amount of force that if you had just done it through the hip, your arm would be able to chill out a little bit more. But now it's got to overcompensate and yank through, and it creates right here. Oh, come on. One more frame. This is where we can start getting into a little bit of a worry zone. All right, if here's your scapular plane, that's how far your elbow is getting caught behind the scapular plane. That's where your arm is kind of dragging through. That puts a lot of torque at the front of the shoulder, puts a lot of torque in the UCL, all right, and that can kind of lead to injuries. That's called hyperangulation. It's basically just arm drag. So the arm's kind of dragging through the shoulder rotation. So ideally what you would want to see is the shoulder riding, or I'm sorry, the elbow riding along with the shoulder. When it gets caught behind like that, it's like chicken boning, like you're just putting a lot of torque through it. But ideally you want to see it ride with the shoulder, lay back, and then unload. But this is just getting caught behind. Another thing that we see, great maximum external rotation. I really, really like that. That's good. But you are, you're getting your shoulder so high up here that you can run into problems with that as well. So ideally, you want it to be on your shoulder plane. So like if you're, if this is your shoulder plane, your elbow right at that shoulder plane, just for example. So then we just tilt the trunk and it's still gonna stay on that shoulder plane. But what happens here is you're going a little bit over, like I'm gonna try to get in the frame here, you're going a little bit over that shoulder plane, you're getting that thing so high up there that can create a lot of problems in the shoulder too, okay? All right, and then finally, let's look at the front leg. All right, so landing a nice flexion in here in the front leg. Go into pitch release. 1, 2, somewhere-ish in there. So you are getting some kickback there. But like I said at the beginning of the video, we can just get more. We can just get more front leg extension here. You're getting a little bit of forward trunk tilt, but it could just be more front leg extension, more forward trunk tilts. All right, that's gonna just be more energy being pushed in from the ground, back up into the chain, and then that extra forward trunk tilt and the ball release. And I think, yep, shocker, my phone just died, so that's right where we'll end it. It's basically over anyways. But the biggest key takeaways for you, Andrew, is getting more power out of this back leg, not coming out of the posterior chain, not getting too pulled out of flexion, and really learning how to produce power from the back leg drive to create more angular and linear velocities in the pelvis. That's going to help you transfer energy up the chain more efficiently, okay? The other thing, that's going to help you kind of clear up that glove side pull to create that hyperangulation as well, all right? And then your shoulder, flexion, overhead abduction of the arm is just being a little bit too high, kind of creating that more angle where the shoulder and the elbow are more in line. You're getting a little too high with it. And then the third thing is just more of that front leg extension, more of that forward trunk tilt, which ultimately just comes down to it takes a lot of power to be able to stabilize that front leg, get extension, and let the trunk come over that front leg as well. So you do a lot of things great, 89 to 90 already. You look like you got great size, phenomenal. Those would be my recommendations on areas where you could kind of tweak. I hate to use the word tweak, but you could definitely get better in your mechanics and using your full kinetic chain to the best of its ability. So hope you guys like the breakdown. If you guys want to do a video breakdown, send in the video to me on my Instagram, @StevenWoodani. Hope you guys have a great one. Catch you on the next one.